Welcome back again, Forging friends. We are on the third deck of this mass mutation box opening. Let's crack this one open and see what we get. Cracking this one open, we have Dis, Untamed, and Star Alliance. We have Elsis, the Variable City Changeling, with a Archon that's got, looks like 3 eyes or 3 mouths, and like 2 swords coming out of its head. Interesting looking. It's got 2 little, like, mechanical hooks coming out of the end. Okay, let's crack it open and see what we get. All right, dropping down the Archon card and squaring it up. We're starting with Untamed. We have Quicksand. It's an action card with an Amber Pip. Play, destroy the most powerful creature controlled by each player who does not control already untamed creature. Great card for whenever your opponent doesn't have Untamed, obviously. Good destruction. We've got Trimble, a 3-power creature, and this one's been enhanced with a draw pip, which is nice. 3 power. Each mutant creature gains skirmish, so we want to see a lot of mutants. Makes good fighters. We have 2 of these. That's fantastic. Wow. And we have Fangtooth Cavern, a notoriously hard card to use, but if we have the right creatures, we might be able to do so. It's an artifact with an Amber Pip. At the end of your turn, destroy the least powerful creature. Great against some Shadows decks and stuff like that. Bumblebird is a creature with 1 power, is alpha, and play, put 2 +1 power counters on each other friendly untamed creature. So we want to have a lot of untamed creatures for that. Resurgence is an action card that's been enhanced with a capture pip. Play, return a creature from your discard pile to your hand. If that creature is a mutant, return another creature from your discard pile to your hand. So we want to see some mutants. We want to see lots of mutants in this deck. We have 2 of those, also with a capture pip there. Reclaim by Nature is an action card with an Amber Pip. Play, purge an artifact, resolve its bonus icons as if you'd played it. Good, we have some artifact control. It's hard to come by, usually. Rapid Evolution is an action card with an Amber Pip. Play, choose a creature, give it a +1 power counter for each amber you have. So that could potentially make a creature gigantic. Not actually gigantic, but really, really big. Lost in the Woods is an action card with an Amber Pip. Play, choose 2 friendly creatures and 2 enemy creatures. Shuffle each chosen creature into its owner's deck. Great disruption for your opponent's creatures. Great creature control. Especially if you have creatures with good play effects. We've got Flumph, a 3-power creature with Skirmish. And Fight, give a beast creature 2 +1 power counters. Can get pretty big. Good fighter. Need good fighters. We've got Cephaloist, a 4-power creature. It's been enhanced with a capture pip and a draw pip. While you have 4 or more amber, your amber cannot be stolen. Great anti-shadows card. Moving on to Star Alliance, we have Particle Sweep, an action card that has an Amber Pip and an enhanced Amber Pip. Play, deal 2 damage to a creature. If it's a mutant creature, destroy it instead. Great against other mass mutations card decks, obviously, but also good for some damage spreading. And we get 2 amber out of it, which is great. Mutagenesis Researcher is a 3-power creature that's just enhancing a bunch of stuff. Good to have enhancers. Teleported Chief Tink, a 2-power creature that is elusive and action. You can swap Teleported Chief Tink with another friendly creature in the battle line. You may use that other creature this turn. So potentially using things off house is always, always good. Subdue, an action card with an Amber Pip. Play, deal 1 damage to a creature and stun it. Get an amber and you can take a creature out for a turn, which is nice. Very good. We've got a Censor Chief Garcia, 3-power creature that's been enhanced with 2 damage pips. Very interesting. Play, Fight, Reap. Keys cost +2 amber during your opponent's next turn. Good to keep opponents off keys and do some damage while we're at it. Explo Rover, a 3-power creature that has Skirmish, and may be played as an upgrade instead of a creature with the text, this creature gains Skirmish. Crewman Yorg, a 3-power creature that's been enhanced with a capture pip. Action, if Crewman Yorg has no Star Alliance neighbors, steal 1 amber. Got to keep her separate. We've got 2 of her. We've got 3 of her. It's going to be hard to keep her separate if we have too many more of her. Commander Chan, a 4-power creature with Fight Reap. Use another friendly creature. Again, another way to use creatures off house. Got 2 of him. Access denied. This creature cannot reap. Great to put on your opponent's good reap creatures, obviously. Umbra Fiend, a 2-power creature with elusive and destroyed, steal 1 amber. And we're on to Dis, by the way. Destroyed, steal 1 amber. We have the Pale Star, a rare artifact. it says Omni, destroy the Pale Star. For the remainder of the turn, each creature is considered to have 1 power and 0 armor. That is interesting, because in that case, I wonder if this would... That's some really cool synergy with Fangtooth Cavern, right? You can pop this, and then you basically get your choice of which creature to destroy, right? That's kind of cool. That could be really interesting. Relentless Creeper, a 2-power creature with, after you choose Dis as your active house, you may return Relentless Creeper from your discard pile to your hand. Good recurable card. Waking Nightmare, an action card with an Amber Pip. Play, keys cost +1 Amber for each Dis creature in play during your opponent's next turn. Yours and your opponent's. So yeah, another way to keep your opponent off key. And we have 2 of those. Excellent. Mark of Dis, an action card with an Amber Pip. Play, deal 2 damage to a creature. If it is not destroyed, its controller must choose that creature's house as their active house on their next turn. Forcing your opponent into into a specific house is really good. Really, really good. Implosion, with an Amber Pip, an Enhanced Capture Pip, and a Draw Pip. Action card, play, destroy a friendly creature and an enemy creature. This card does a lot. That is amazing. That is an amazing card. Obviously, you don't want to destroy the creature that you capture onto, but with multiple creatures out, this can be very, very good. We have a very unfortunate Gateway to Dis. A action card that's been enhanced with a Capture Pip. Destroy each creature, gain 3 chains. Kind of humorous. We get to capture an Amber and then give it right back. How about that? Dominator Bauble, an artifact. Action, use a friendly creature. We have a few ways to use cards off house, which is great. Dark Minion, a 1-power creature with destroyed, deal 1 damage to each enemy creature. Good to spread some damage around, take care of some of those 1-power guys. Bonesaw is a 5-power creature with, if a friendly creature was destroyed this turn, Bonesaw enters play ready. I think that's possible in this deck, quite possible. We have 2 of that. All right, interesting deck. I will go ahead and do the counts, and I will be right back. All right, welcome back. I have separated out the cards. Let's go ahead and get our creature count. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19 creatures. A little bit above average. That's pretty good. Amber on the cards. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 Amber on the cards. Pretty average. All right, looking at Amber control. We're going to be careful to see all the pips here. So things that control Amber. We've got 1. So each of these can steal 1. So let's say 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Steal and control Amber, so 6 so far. 7. Wow, 7 on just the creatures for Amber control. Let's see. So this prevents them from reaping. So I'll say 7.5, since that prevents a potential Amber. 7.5. 8.5. 9.5. 10.5 for that capture pip there. I didn't miss any others, did I? No. So 10.5 so far. Wow. 11.5, 12.5. And this one doesn't count because it's a gateway. So 12.5 Amber control cards. That seems kind of amazing. I mean, some of them are just the capture pips, but still, I mean, that's a significant amount of Amber that we're taking away from our opponent. All right, looking at artifact control, I believe that we just have the 1 artifact control, which is the Reclaimed by Nature. And this could potentially give us, I mean, maybe another Amber. A lot of artifacts have Amber pips on them. But usually this will just be a nice way to destroy an artifact on our opponent's side. So good to have that. As far as creature control, things that disrupt creatures from doing what they want to do, or damage or destroy creatures, let's have a look at what we got for that. So let's see here. We've got, let's see. So we have things, this card damages creatures. It's got 2 damage pips, so that's 1 card. 2 cards. 3 cards. 4. I don't know if we'll play it, but yeah, 4. Puts the creatures back in the deck, so 5. 6, 7. Prevents them from reaping, so 8, 9, 10. Oh my gosh. 11 makes them less powerful, and 12 is a board wipe. Wow, 12, around 12 of each. Amber control and creature control. That's pretty cool. All right, looking at efficiency, things that let us draw cards or use cards off house. Now, I know we had a few draw pips here, so we'll have to count those. We've got 1, 2, 2. Off house, so that's a 3 and that's 4. Did I count? I didn't count her, so that's 5. Because she also does that. 5 so far. 5 for efficiency. So this might disrupt our efficiency a little bit because it puts 2 of our creatures back into our deck. So I will say -2 for that, right? Because we get 2 creatures added back to our deck, which may or may not be a hindrance to efficiency for their good creatures, right? Maybe I won't count that one at all, actually. We'll just keep it at 5. Six. Okay. So yeah, wow. Our numbers are looking pretty good so far, right? So 6 for efficiency. And then we're going to look at recursion. We have these 2 resurgences, and we have a fair few mutant creatures, I think. So we can get a lot of cards back from the resurgences, which is great. We also have that Relentless Creeper that can bring himself back every disc turn. So, you know, he's just kind of an annoying guy. He can sit there, he can fight into things and not worry about being gone forever. He can come back a lot, so that's cool. So we got 3 for recursion, and now we're going to look at disruption, things that prevent our opponent from playing the game they want to play, or things that get cards out of their hand. Let's see. So this one prevents our opponent from stealing, so I'm just going to count that as half, because that's a very specific thing, and we have to have 4 or more amber for that. So let's see here. Disruption. 1 so far. And this makes our opponent pick a specific house, so that's a 2. Right? And everything else is just creature control. This lets us use a creature off house too, right? So that could be added to efficiency as well. So we said maybe 3 efficiency or something like that. And oh yeah, we have to reduce the chains here too. So we said like 4 or 5 efficiency. I'll have the number up a little bit later, but we'll add 1 efficiency for that, and we'll take away 3 chains for that as well. But yeah, overall, I really like this deck. I think it's good. It's got a lot of creatures. It's got a lot of ways of controlling Amber. Really, really cool deck. I'm going to say this is in... Oh, man. I want to put this in the 70s really bad. I think it's got a lot of cool things. It's not... There's no kind of like standout strategy. It is really just a kind of board control-y, reapy kind of deck. So it's pretty predictable, I would say, overall, which might hinder it. But I think there's some good synergies here between the houses. I did say, I think when I first opened the pack, the deck, I mean, that I thought that the, what was it? Oh yeah, the Fangtooth Cavern would probably work well with the Pale Star. But now, I you know, after looking at it, I don't think that's the case. Because, for one thing, the Pale Star just says, for the remainder of the turn, each creature is considered to have 1 power and 0 armor. But Fangtooth Cavern activates at the end of your turn. So I feel like once you activate the Pale Star, they all go back to their normal power by the time Fangtooth Cavern would activate. That's how I think it works. If you think differently, let me know. But, yeah, I don't think Fangtooth Cavern and Pale Star interact that well. But the Pale Star is still a really cool card for just, you know, kind of messing with your opponent's creatures and maybe even, like, you know, it's an Omni, so you can use it with a bunch of the cards we have that can damage creatures. Like, for example, if I did that, and I also happened to destroy my Dark Minion in the same turn, I could take out all of their creatures in 1 turn, which is kind of incredible. It's like a mini board wipe sort of thing. So that's pretty neat. But overall, I think this is a cool deck. I'm going to give it a kind of a high 70s. I know that's kind of a risky thing, but I'm in the mood to give it a high 70. So I'll give it a 78. We're going to go 78 on this one. And yeah, I will see you at my desktop. Go ahead and make your guesses. All right, welcome back. I about to go ahead and import this link I've copied. I do think this deck is a 78 at least. It had a lot of creatures in it. It had a lot of good amber control, some efficiency, both with using creatures off house and drawing cards. And I think it can generate a lot of amber. You know, it has a lot of ways of stealing amber and a lot of ways of just mitigating the opponent. So I think it's a pretty good one. But go ahead and make your guesses now. I'm locking in my 78. Let's see what we got. It's a 66. It is indeed much lower than I expected. I'm still trying to get used to evaluating these mass mutation decks. I wonder why this one wasn't as good. Okay, let's see. So, for the amber control, the Umbra Fiend was the highest, followed by the Garcia, putting access denied at the lowest part of it. Like we said, we only counted it as half because it only prevents reaping. So I think we evaluated the amber control pretty correctly overall. The expected amber, nothing subtracting from our expected amber, which is good. Reclaim by Nature being the highest and Bonesaw being the lowest. Not much to say about that. Reclaim by Nature being our only artifact control. Right. So a lot of good things there so far. We have the Gateway to Dis taking away from our efficiency. Resurgence is adding to our efficiency. It didn't count Lost in the Woods as negative efficiency, so we don't have to count that in the future, like we thought. Mutagenesis Researcher adding to our efficiency because of the, I think the draw pips, right? Mutagenesis Researcher is adding at least one draw pip, yes. So that is cool, okay. And then I think we also add a draw pip for each Resurgence as well, yeah. So that makes sense. Recursion, we have the Resurgence, we have the Lost in the Woods, that's recursion as well. It doesn't count the Relentless Creeper, okay. And Disruption, Mark of Dis, and Reclaim by Nature. It counts the artifact control as disruption as well, which is interesting. I wonder if that's because, did the Reclaim by Nature have it didn't have any enhancements on it, so interesting that it counts the artifact control as disruption as well. We'll note that for the future as well. So let's look at our synergies and anti-synergies to see if we can make sense of why this one is so low. It does have -2 anti-synergy, and the basic arc, I don't know that I would have guessed that the basic arc would have been 60 based on what I saw here. But let's go through these synergies and anti-synergies. So Mark of Dis, it has some synergy with Gateway to Dis, obviously. I think, yeah, so Implosion and Gateway to Dis. Right, so what we can do is we can make them choose that house and then destroy all the creatures on their board. That's cool. That's actually a really cool idea. We can Implosion that creature after we Mark of Dis it. Just do some damage to it, make him force them into that house, and then get rid of all the creatures from that house. That's really cool, actually. That's a cool idea. Umbra Fiend has a lot of synergies with things that destroy friendly creatures. We got the Gateway, Implosion, Fangtooth, and Quicksand. Lots of ways to destroy Umbra Fiend, which is nice. Ways of returning cards into discard. We have the Resurgence. So very, very nice. We have couple good play creatures, Bumblebird and Garcia for the Lost in the Woods, and a lot of things that enhance creatures. So Lost in the Woods is great. Okay, here we go. So that Fangtooth Cavern is taking a lot away. We have a lot of 2 to 3 power creatures. And, you know, I never end up liking the Fangtooth Cavern in most of my decks. I think I have one deck that's like around 10 creatures where it kind of makes sense to play the Fangtooth Cavern. But usually, when you have any kind of reasonable amount of creatures, you don't really want this thing out. It usually does more harm than good, in my opinion. I'm sure there's cases where it can be good, but if you look here, we have 120 anti-synergy and 30 anti-synergy because we have 1 to 3 power creatures here. We have some synergy because we have things that increase creature power, but yeah, I mean, mostly, I don't know if this is a card we'll play. It doesn't seem like a good card to play. Gateway to Dis has some anti-synergy because we have a high creature count, so that's really a card we'll only play when we're behind, and luckily we only have one of them, so we might just discard it. It might not be 3 chains, it might just be 1 chain, ultimately. We have Resurgence having positive 45% because we have 2 mutants, and then it has negative 25% because we don't have very many mutants, I guess. We only have 2. So that's the thing. We can still get at least one creature back with it, even if we don't bring back a mutant every single time. Waking Nightmare, low disc creatures. I think we only have 5 disc creatures, which isn't terrible. It's about average. So I don't know that I would put too much stock into that negative 25%. And then Crewman Yorg would be great off house with the Dominator Bauble. That's true. And going down further, probably where you can't see, the Quicksand has a negative 75% because we have low total creature power, right? So if our opponent also has Untamed, it would be a kind of a dead card in our hand for the most part. So looking at this, I thought this deck would be much better than it turned out, but looking at that Fangtooth Cavern mainly, it's kind of the biggest anti-synergy we have in this deck is this Fangtooth Cavern, and on a base level. Looking at the base arc, the way it calced out, the ultimate, the expected amber isn't very, very high, and the amber control is moderate to high. I would say this is a decent amber control quantity. But then again, we only have 1 artifact control and kind of middling amber overall. So we want to see, if we want to get in the 70s, we want to see a higher amber total here, and maybe some more artifact control. And maybe some kind of big synergy, something that can really get us excited about a deck to get it into the 70s, maybe even 80s. So yeah, we'll take that information going forward. And if you guys have any other suggestions or thoughts about this, please leave a comment. And if you like this video, I appreciate the like. And if you want to see more of this, please subscribe. Appreciate you guys watching. Have a good day.